Hello, everyone. I'm JIANG from Yumeng. Very glad to be here today. And as Pepe already said, Yumeng is the largest mobile app analytics platform in China. We are now working with more than 80,000 developers, 230 apps using our analytics solution. In China, we can track, through our analytics solution, we can track more than 780 million smartphones. Smart devices, including phone and tablet. And built on top of our analytics solution, we also provide the developer a number of backend services. For example, push notification, a social SDK, share SDK, and we recently launched KatiePlay, a mobile game social engine. I will explain a little bit this two products a little bit later. Here is some selection of the partner we're working with. We work with a number of the top leading game developers and also international developers. For example, Cat Rob and Ski Safari, when they launch their game in China, they use our analytics solution to track their Chinese users' behavior and to understand their Chinese users better. So today's in my talk, I'm going to firstly to talk about the trends of the mobile game market in China. And I'm going to use all the Yumeng's data to talk about that. And then I will talk about some practice to socialize your game in China. The market has grown dramatically, very rapidly in China. So right now, from our data, we can see there are at least 780 million smart devices. And the number actually increased in 15 months, and increased 100% in 15 months. And in the last 6 months, the smart devices in China has increased 32%. And we don't see any signs of the market getting slowed down. However, there are some changes in the market. Number one, the growth has changed. It used to be the growth of the mobile game player all from the tier 1 or tier 2 cities. But from this year, we see a biggest trends of the growth from the tier 3 city and also the below and the countryside. So a year ago, in China, nearly half of the mobile game players are from the top tier 1 cities. But this quarter, the tier 1 game players has dropped to 39%. And 34% game players actually are in tier 3 cities and below. And the casual game is very big in China, so I'm very happy to be this Casual Connect event. From Yumeng's data, we say 42% users, the first game they play on their mobile phones are actually casual games. And about 22% users, when they play their first game on mobile phone, they actually action and arcade games. And only less than 1% users, the first game they actually play on their phone are role-playing games. So casual game has a huge market in China. When people talk about a casual game, they always think about people play the game like deep in and deep out. Every day they probably play a lot of sessions, but every session they play a very short period of time. We saw this has changed as well. In the last year, we see player actually spend a big chunk of time to play the casual game. The number of sessions and the total time spent every day they play on casual game all increased. Particularly, we can say in car game, on the adventure game, all these games, players' behavior have changed as well. So casual games are not really just to the casually play. And people are now really more and more interested to share contents on the social network. And we see in last year, the second half of last year, the number of sharing on social network platform per mobile users per day was tripled in 6 months. And also, we say for the game developers to provide social integration, social functionality, it's become a very standard functions in their game. So we had a look about the top 1,000 game on the Chinese chart. About 45% of these games, they provide social functionalities. That's including share to social network or use the social account to log in. And if we look at about top 100 apps on the Chinese chart, we see about 50% of the apps provide this kind of social functionalities. So provide social functionalities become a very standard, very basic function for all the developers. So when you launch your game, you build your game, and when you want to say, I want to come to China, then we think it's very, very important to you socialize your game in China. And when we think about the social, we think actually you can probably do two ways. The first way, and is the basic way, is you integrate with Chinese existing social network. And the second way you can look into is build an in-game social community, using the in-game social community to engage your players. Chinese social network, there's a number of social network in China. It's actually quite fragmented. Not like in the US, you have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, that's it pretty much, and WhatsApp. But in China, there's a number of them, and here is just selective big Chinese social networks. WeChat, can I ask who is using WeChat? You raise your hand. Okay, so WeChat is like a WhatsApp plus Facebook. It's a communication tools, but also have a moment with like a Facebook timeline. So it's the largest social network in China. Tencent built them, great product. Billions users use them, but they don't have exactly the Facebook open functionalities. So they have they only have a share API, so you can use WeChat share APIs. But if you want to use WeChat to socialize the game, say you want to use your friends list, you want to use to build a leaderboard, you want to use WeChat login system, it's not available for other developers. It's only available for the developers WeChat has a close business relationship with. So WeChat is, I think it's from gamer perspective, it's the best social network in China, but it's not open as open as Facebook. And the Qzone is also a Tencent social network, but it's available on PC and mobile. It mixed with friends, also has strangers, all can connect to each other. You can use their login, you can use their share, but they don't have the social graph available for developers. So you're not able to get your players' friends list, all that kind of social graph. Sina Weibo, they just recently IPO in the US market. They are the largest Twitter type of social network. They really open, so you can use, they have a lot open API for developers. You can use their login, you can share to Twitter, to share on the social Sina Weibo, and you can get all the the users' social graph. You can get all the users' information, their interests, their friends list, pretty much a lot of information. But for game developers, because it's like a Twitter type of the social network, so people you follow or people follow you, they don't have a very close connection. So if you use all the Sina Weibo's social connection in your game, it's not very efficient as most social networks. So because they don't really have the people don't really engage with their followers. So although they're very open, but it's not the best to use in the game. And JIANG is, they used to call the Facebook in China, mostly for the students, particularly the university students. But when people actually graduate, they kind of change. They don't use JIANG anymore. They use other social networks. So they're available on PC and mobile as well. And Tencent Weibo is also Tencent's products like Twitter. And you can also get a number of API, and you can use their friends connection, friends list, social graph, etc. And the last one actually is very interesting. Most people probably never heard about them. It's called Momo. Originally, it's a dating app, but now it has huge amount of user, large user base, and they become a very, very good social network for games. Momo recently launched their game platform, similar like WeChat type of the game platform, and but they don't have any open APIs. So if you want to work with them, you need to talk to them directly and look into the potential partnership or business agreement with them. So their friends list or their social graph is very useful for the games when you socialize your game, but unfortunately, they don't have open APIs. So there's a number of the social network in China. So people use different social network actually on different ways. For example, 人人 and they very kind of 人人 Q 这种 kind of traditional social network. Most people like to share entertainment contents on this social network. But WeChat and Tencent Weibo are very good for the game players. People really like to share games on this social network. So when you think about, which social network I should integrate first, you should look into, say, what kind of user you want to acquire, what's your target users, choose the relevant social network to work with. This is an example about a Chinese game. So WeChat is not very open, so it's difficult for you to plug in their friends list in your game, their leaderboard in your game. But you still can use WeChat as good social marketing tools. This is an example. It's a casual game called Crazy Gas Figure. It's very popular in China last year. The game is very simple. It's just a picture, and the player guesses the picture. There could be a brand name, a field name, etc. And most people get stuck. They don't know what the picture is. They either to buy the virtual currency to unlock to get some clue, or they can send the information to their social net, to their friends, like their friends to help. So if you select to share on the WeChat, so you can basically to put down something. For example, please help what this picture is. And then post on your WeChat moment, then all your friends can engage with you. They can give you, your friends can tell you the answer. Your friends, when they click that picture, they can also play the game as well. So it's a very successful example to use WeChat as a social marketing tools to acquire user quickly. So in summary, the integration local social network is very important when you launch a game in China. Share content to local social network become a very standard function for all the game developers, because Chinese users, we're not able to access Facebook, or we can use Twitter. So, when you have a game in China, you need to integrate with the Chinese social network, and then you also need to consider, integrate, multiple social network, because people have a different requirements, social requirements. WeChat is the largest one, but unfortunately, they're not as open as Facebook. And for social marketing, you also need to set up your official account on the WeChat, on Weibo, and use all this social network to engage your player and build your communities. Yumen, we have a tool, so you can very quickly help you to integrate more than 10 social networks in China. It's just like 10 minutes, and in one SDK, you can integrate with all the major social network I pointed out early. So apart from to integrate in the Chinese social network, another thing you can consider is to build your in-game developer community. So when a player play your game, they want to share, they want to ask their friends the tips, and they want to show off when they have a big progress. So this is the example, Ski Safari. When they launch their game in China, that's the in-game community they build in their game. They have a discussion and like a picture sharing and friends chat, etc. And all this, they, to get a player to have the social discussion in the game. So they keep everything together, not go out to you don't need to go out to other places to find out the tips or talk to the players. You build in-game community, you can also use for developer to engage their players. For example, Oh My God TD, they have a community manager when they build their in-game community, and their community manager can ask, they every day they have some topic and they talk about in the community, and they also ask their player, like for example, what do you like about our game? What kind of function you want to add in your game? And they based on the player's response, they change their roadmap at the end. So that's a very good way for you to get your customer feedback directly. You also can use a developer community to do the customer support. Oh My God TD has also done is when they have a big update and a lot of players lost status in the iCloud. So a lot of players don't know how to sync the content on the iCloud. So the community manager write an article, a tip to tell the player step by step how to sync their game into in iCloud. And the player very frustrated when they have a bigger problem. If we can keep them in the game and help them to resolve all those problems, then we can, definitely to make them happy, to make them play the game much longer. All the in-game community, you can very easy and quickly build using another product. It's called KatiePlay. We just recently launched last month, and you can use the KatiePlay to quickly build your in-game community, in-game discussion. Also, you can use KatiePlay to make your single game to be a casual game, to be a social game. You can build like player versus players functionality, leaderboard, chat, etc. And also for developer, you can also use this function to doing the live operations, like you have run your event, run your customer support, run your notification. So everything building one SDK, you can easily to integrate to build to socialize your game. If you have any interest, any question about the market in China or the trends, JIANG provide an insight report. We publish the report quarterly basis, and we also have a blog. You can check our blog and find all the information. And that's it. That's all I'm going to talk about today. And China is a very exciting market, but socialize your game in China with opportunity and also challenges. And we hope we can help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. We have time for a couple of questions if there's any questions from the audience. I'd like to ask you, Linda, what is a good game with a great social integration that you can think of right now in China? An example.
I mean, Tencent's game. Every game on the WeChat platform has a great social integration with WeChat. But that's whenever Tencent, whenever there's one new game on the Tencent game platform integrated with all the WeChat social connection, they become the top of the chart after 2 hours they launch. So there's a number of them, but it's quite actually very difficult to go that stage.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you very much.